I know that many of you are passionate about military technology and your hearts beat to the roar of a jet engine. In this video, we're going to talk about the Boeing F-47 fighter jet, a fighter jet that has already earned the title of King of the Skies of the Future, and almost the entire world is talking about it. The F-47 isn't just a warbird, it's a revolution, a display of power that has emerged from the Next Generation Air Dominance Program, or NGAD. Imagine a breathtaking duel between aerospace giants Boeing and Lockheed Martin, and now Boeing has raised the championship trophy with a $20 billion contract. Of course, this contract is just the beginning of the story. The game has only just started, and from now on, we're going to hear a lot more about the F-47. A few months ago, NGAD was on the verge of being cancelled. With the emergence of the stealth bomber B-21 Raider and the rush toward drones, many people thought it was time to say goodbye to manned fighter jets. The million-dollar question was whether the US Air Force was going to replace this project with a new strategy. But now the answer to this question has become clear, as Mr. Donald Trump and his Secretary of Defense announced just a few days ago that the F-47 is going to be built and will be unveiled in the late 2020s or early 2030s. This is a fighter jet that is supposed to surpass the F-22, the current king of the skies, and replace it. A fighter jet shrouded in mystery and filled with emerging technologies that no one knows about yet. A sixth-generation fighter whose secrets are even more classified than Area 51. And it's not just going to be a fighter jet, but a complete air dominance system that's set to turn the tide in favor of the Americans. Let's take a moment to go back and put Boeing under the microscope. This company has really been through a storm in recent years. From the 737 MAX disaster that shocked the world to an $11.8 billion loss in 2024 and labor strikes that crippled its production lines. Many people thought Boeing would never recover and that Lockheed Martin, with its impressive track record building the F-22 and F-35, would snatch up this contract. But Boeing surprised everyone with a spectacular comeback. This $20 billion contract isn't just a financial lifeline, it's a statement that says Boeing is still in the game and ready to reclaim the crown. Over its life cycle, the value of this project could multiply several times over, making it one of the largest military investments in American history. So, why Boeing? Don't think this is a political decision to save a company from financial collapse or to distribute defense contracts equally among different companies. Boeing is no newcomer to military aviation. Ever since it merged with McDonnell Douglas in 1997, it also gained a treasure trove of experience. The F-15 Eagle, the F-18 Super Hornet, and even the massive B-2 bomber are masterpieces of this company that still shine in the skies. Remember, Boeing started its work in the 1960s with the Quiet Bird stealth project, and in the 1990s with the YF-118G and the tailless X-36. It showed that it had something to say when it came to futuristic designs. Even the X-32, which lost out to the F-35 in competition, was an experience that prepared Boeing for this very moment. It's rumored that the F-47 prototype has been flying in secret for nearly 5 years, and some say that the mysterious X-37 was actually the flying laboratory that tested the technology for this giant. Alright, let's take a look at the F-47 itself. What we've learned so far is that it has a white fuselage similar to the B-21 Raider, which is probably made from advanced radar-absorbing materials. The last time Boeing tested a prototype with a lighter colored body, the results weren't very good. But this time it seems things are going to be different. Since there's still not much official information, we're using 3D renders, which are our best guess at what this aircraft looks like. The F-47 isn't just a fighter jet, it's a command center in the sky. This aircraft has been designed from the ground up to replace the F-22, but with a bigger goal: to dominate the vast expanses of the Pacific Ocean, where distances stretch for thousands of miles and the threats from China are becoming more serious every day. The Chief of Staff of the US Air Force has said that we are going to shape the next generation of aerial warfare with this jet. One of the most important features of the F-47 is that it can fly both with a pilot and unmanned, exactly like the B-21. This flexibility means less risk for pilots. But when necessary, a pilot can take control of the fighter. But that's not the whole story. The F-47 is supposed to command a fleet of collaborative combat drones, or CCA. These drones are like loyal soldiers that can carry out reconnaissance, electronic warfare, and even precision strikes. Meanwhile, the F-47 controls the operation from a safe distance. In recent years, we've seen what even simple drones are capable of. Now imagine a group of advanced combat drones specifically designed for battle under the command of the F-47. This means the F-47 could wipe out its enemy's air force in the blink of an eye. Long range is another trump card of the F-47. This fighter jet is designed for patrolling the Pacific Ocean, a place where friendly bases are scarce and Chinese missile threats like cruise and hypersonic missiles could target American bases at any moment. By reducing the need for aerial refueling, the F-47 can carry out longer missions and respond more quickly. The Air Force's report for 2050 states that in such an environment, a fighter with long range and high payload capacity is necessary to make an impact on the battlefield. Advanced stealth, next-generation sensors, and adaptive engines that are both efficient and highly powerful turn the F-47 into a nightmare for the enemy. But let's move on to one of the biggest mysteries surrounding the F-47. Where did the number 47 come from, and why, out of all the numbers, or after the F-35, did they suddenly jump to F-47s? Many people guessed it was probably to honor Donald Trump, the president under whose administration the order to build this fighter was finally given, and there have been similar cases before too. For example, the same formula was used for the USS Theodore Roosevelt. That is, they named the ship after the president who was in power at the time, and now they've probably used Donald Trump's presidential number for this fighter jet to show that it belongs to the era of Donald Trump. Donald Trump himself also said at the unveiling ceremony, "This is the most advanced, most powerful, and deadliest fighter jet we've ever built."
The F-47 will be the most advanced, most capable, most lethal aircraft ever built.
Of course, all of this is just speculation. Some people say that choosing the number F-47 and the gap from the F-35 is meant to show a generational leap. Others speculate that they picked F-47 because this fighter is supposed to become operational in 2047. All of these are equally likely, and they could just as easily be wrong. For example, the naming formula for the B-52 was exactly like this because it became operational in 1952. They chose the name B-52 for it. It's possible that the same applies to the F-47. Of course, all of this is speculation, and just as much as it could be true, it could also just be the guesses of a bunch of military enthusiasts. This project has shaken the entire American aerospace industry, and this victory isn't just for Boeing. Right now, Boeing with the NGAD, Lockheed Martin with the F-35, which is still being upgraded, and Northrop Grumman with the B-21 Raider, each have a massive project. This healthy competition drives innovation forward and reduces the risk of relying on a single company. Boeing is building a 102,000 square meter factory in St. Louis for this project, which will open by 2026, and the composite manufacturing center in Arizona is also on the way. These things show just how serious Boeing is. On the other hand, production of the F-18 Super Hornet will end in 2027, and the F-15 may not continue for much longer either. So NGAD represents a steady stream of income for Boeing. Clearly, the F-47 isn't designed just to fly in the United States. This is a serious response to all global threats. For example, the Chinese J-20, which flew just recently, and I made a video about it and explained it in detail, shows that the Chinese are also serious players in this game and are making their own efforts to achieve this 6th-generation fighter. With its comprehensive stealth, tailless design, and ability to control drones, the F-47 is intended to maintain American superiority in the Pacific Ocean, where China is strengthening its long-range missiles. The U.S. Secretary of Defense has said that this fleet sends a clear message to our allies. we're not going anywhere. The F-47 survived a last-minute shakeup and has now established itself as America's fighter jet of the future. This journey has been full of drama and innovation, and it might mark the greatest comeback in Boeing's history. With stealth technology, advanced sensors, next-generation engines, and an army of drones, this aircraft is set to catch the enemy off guard. The Air Force says the F-47 is cheaper than the F-22, with greater range and adaptability for future threats. This means a multi-role aircraft that excels both in dogfights and long-range missions. But what do you think? Do you think Boeing can maintain or even expand its dominance in the skies with the F-47? Or do you think the Chinese or maybe even the Russians will gradually claim a bigger share of the sky? Or the next question could be this. In your opinion, what was the reasoning behind choosing the name F-47? And why did the Americans go with F-47? I read all your comments and will respond to as many as I can. Until the next video, goodbye.